In this video we're going to be taking a look at the GPD G7. This is a Android game console which is branded in China. It's a China branded console, and this is the first one I've bought. I do own an NVIDIA Shield, so I'm just going to be taking a quick look at it and showing you some of the things you can do with it. So the reason I bought this console is mainly because my NVIDIA Shield, it's a great console, but the problem is the weight. It's okay at first while using it, but after a while the weight just gets a bit too much, and more than 30 minutes I couldn't really play it. And it's even though it's a powerful console, the weight just really killed it for me. It was very difficult to use for a long period of time. I still use it often. So I got the G7. There is a G5 model, and this is not going to compete with the NVIDIA Shield in terms of raw power or specs, but what it can do is it can play most of your basic Android games, and it can do game streaming pretty well too. It has a rock chip CPU in it. I'm not going to go into details. You could probably find that out on the net. And it has a basic Mali 400 GPU. It's a low-res screen. It's 1024 into 600. So like a 600-piece screen, because the performance is much better if the resolution is lower, considering the CPU and GPU that this device is using. So when you get this device, it has a bunch of emulators built into it. These are emulators you could probably download at the App Store. I personally don't use most of them. Before I get into that, let me give you a layout of the controls. Now this uses a really good set of controls, except the D-pad. The analog sticks are very good. They're better than the Shield. They're almost like Xbox 360 analog sticks, so they feel really good. The triggers are good. They're decent. They lack a little bit of depth. This one lacks a little bit of depth, as you can see, but they do the job. This is not an analog trigger, it's a digital trigger, which means is when you press it, you fire, attack, or shoot. There's no middle ground. There's no halfway going down for racing games or something. It's just, there's just digital buttons. These controls feel a bit cheap, but hey, they do the job, so it's alright. And the D-pad, it needs a little bit of work, because even though it's fine for playing some retro games, you can left, right, up, down, when you try to hit the keys diagonally, it doesn't register as well. It takes a while to get used to, and there's a mod to fix that. You can probably find it on the Dingo Unity boards. And what else is there? Okay, it has wireless display capability. It has HDMI out over here. It has the USB, and this charges using a normal DC adapter. It doesn't charge with USB. I don't know why they did that, but hey, it's actually faster when you're charging it with the DC. The grip feels good when I hold it, and it is very light. It's extremely light. It might look heavy, and it might look like it's a big device, even though it's a 7-inch device. It's very light, and it's easy to hold in the hands, unlike the Shield, which is extremely heavy. I like the Shield, but the weight is just too much. So another cool feature in this is it actually comes with a mapper installed into it. So you just click it, and you have your keys which you can map. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can drag around the sliders wherever you want to map it. You can hide the status bar. This internally comes with 8 GB, but you can put a 16 GB stick into it and make it your primary hard drive, so it's not a big issue. The Shield doesn't let you do that. You have to use the internal built-in storage of the Shield, but in this device you can do that. There is a KitKat out for this device. It's in beta. I haven't installed it. Right now I'm just running let's see what 4.2.2, right? There we go. So let me show you a few Android games on it. I'll start with a really hardcore game like Deus Ex: The Fall. Um, let's see. I have GTA San Andreas installed also. Oh, it's already running over here in the background. Alright. I have already mapped my controls. Um, so as you can see, it runs okay. It's not terrible, it's not great. It runs decent, good enough to be played. I have mapped pretty much all the controls. This has L3 and R3, they're clickable. So as you can see, I can get up, stand up, I mapped it that way. To give you an idea and show you the mapping, wait, I'm sorry about that. So see, there you go, I have the keys pretty much mapped. Some elements I still use touchscreen controls for that. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy with my setup. The gameplay is quite smooth. It can lag a little bit, but that's in all the devices because Deus Ex is pretty intense. And I'm surprised it runs so well on this.
I got into the control center and forced access to the mayor's computer. He used a program called the Killing Floor to get his orders.
Let's try something else now. I have GTA San Andreas here. Now this game natively supports controls, so it's not, I don't need to map anything. And there you go. It runs very smooth, the controls work fine, everything works. Oops, the car disappeared, that's the first.
Carl, it's Officer Hernandez. Who? Officer Hernandez. I work...
Let me give you an idea of the settings I'm using, so you can... Alright. Medium. I could go to high, but I just prefer it this way. Medium, resolution at 82%, shadows at classic, car reflections at low. So it gives me a decent performance. As I said, this is a 600p screen, 1024 by 600, so the performance works out well for the CPU and the GPU. And yeah, it controls well. Everything is pretty good. Let's try an emulator. Alright, gonna try it with Tekken. So as you can see, it works pretty well. I'm using Retroarch. Okay. And let's see some of the other stuff. I'm going to be showing you a video of game streaming also. You've already seen Android games that perform pretty well. The controls are solid, as I said. It's a good alternative to the Shield in case you find the Shield is a bit too heavy for you. It is heavy. After 30 minutes it gets heavy. The Shield just gets too heavy, and this one works well for me. So let's get into game streaming. So here we have Splashtop THD working. This has X input emulation turned on, and let's try Borderlands. So as you can see, this is Borderlands 2 running via game streaming using Splashtop THD, and it's I'm going to show you the performance. It's quite smooth actually. There is an issue with the right stick being this is a firmware issue. It's a little bit less sensitive. The sensitivity needs to be increased, but as you can see, it's working pretty well. If the frame rate looks a bit choppy, it's not actually the performance on this device, it's the video recording. It's very smooth over here. It's I think it's running at about 50 to 58 FPS, I can assume. Not completely 60. It can do 60. I don't know why it's not. So let me just fix this. I have it set to the frame rate being okay. There we go. I thought the frame rate was capped, but here we go. So as you can see, the movement is pretty smooth and all the keys work. And I'm dead. So this is one of the primary reasons that I like this device, is because it does game streaming so well, especially because the controls are solid. They feel really good. That really was the main reason that I bought this device, is so that I have something that can game stream and it's light and it has controllers built into it. I could do this on my Xperia phone and everything, but this is more convenient, and the battery life on this is very good. It has a 5000 mAh battery, so it can last a long time. It lasts me an entire day just game streaming. By entire day, it means it's like about 9 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours. Yeah, and I like this device. I really like this device, and I'm glad I bought the G7 at this point, because this is a refined China brand. Most of the other brands, they're lacking in some form or the other, you know, either the analogs don't work properly or something like that. This one is good pretty much all around, and except the D-pad just needs a little bit of work. That can be modded out and it works fine. Everything else about this device is just great. I love this device. I'm using it as my primary gaming device. If I had to nitpick, there's one issue, is the screen. This is a horrible screen. I mean, a Game Boy screen is better than this. This screen is very bad. There's a bluish tint on it. I don't know if you can't notice it on the video. The colors don't come out right on the video. It's okay, the colors are okay, but there's like a really thick bluish tint which makes the images dull. I think on the next version they might go with an IPS screen, which would be great. Yeah, as I said, the screen is horrible. It's the worst screen I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it's absolutely terrible. Then again, maybe it's because I'm used to IPS and AMOLED displays, so it could just be my eyes. So I hope you enjoyed the video and you got an idea of the GPD G7. Yeah, this is just a little bit of a comparison with the Shield, and if there's anything more you'd like to know, let me know and maybe I can make a video of it. Thank you for watching.